Hello and welcome, wherever in the world you are watching from today. Here is a number worth sitting with. About 1 adult in 7 in this country is living with chronic kidney disease, and the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention estimates that as many as 9 in 10 of them do not know it. Past 65, it is closer to 1 in 3. Now hold that beside this. Your 2 kidneys are each the size of your fist, and inside each one sit roughly 1 million microscopic filters called nephrons. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases says they process about 150 quarts of blood a day, day and night, for 80 years without a day off. And in all that time, almost nobody told you what to feed them. For most people over 60, it is not dinner that wears those filters down. It is what you reach for at 3 in the afternoon and again at 9 at night. Before we go one step further, let me be straight with you. If you have been diagnosed with chronic kidney disease, if you are on dialysis, if you have had a transplant, or if you take a medicine that changes your potassium, and many blood pressure medicines do, then some of what follows will not apply to you the way it applies to your neighbor. 2 of these snacks carry potassium, and a diagnosed kidney patient is usually given a firm number to stay under. This is general education about a healthy eating pattern. It is not treatment, and it is not medical advice. Take anything you are considering to your own doctor or your kidney dietitian first. Now, the honest landscape, because you deserve the real picture, not a headline. You've probably seen creatinine on a lab report. It is a waste product your muscles make at a steady rate, simply by being muscles. Healthy kidneys clear it, so when it climbs, the filters may not be working as briskly as they once did. Your doctor puts that number into an equation with your age and gets your eGFR, the estimate of how well you are filtering. But because it comes from muscle, that number also moves for reasons that have nothing to do with your kidneys, a large steak the night before your blood draw, being short on fluids, or simply carrying more muscle than most people your age. So let me say it plainly, because it is the ground we stand on tonight. No snack lowers creatinine. Nothing in a bowl repairs a scarred filter, and anyone telling you otherwise wants something from you. What food can do is quieter and far more useful. It takes the daily load off those filters, the sodium, the added phosphates, the blood pressure, and the blood sugar that do the real damage across years. Diabetes and high blood pressure cause about 3 of every 4 new cases of kidney failure in this country. And snacking is where most of that load slips in unnoticed. So before we start, do me one small favor. Put your age in the comments and tell me the one thing you reach for between meals. Be honest. That answer is the whole conversation. And because you have stayed with me this far, I have something for you. In just a moment, a code will appear on your screen. Scan it with your phone camera, and it will take you straight to my book, The 90-Year Blueprint, my guide to eating for healthy aging. The same evidence-based approach we use here, written out in full, with the food lists, the label reading rules, and simple weekly plans laid out plainly. There is nothing to pay and nothing to sign up for. The 90-Year Blueprint is my gift to you. Scan it now, then come straight back, because number 6 is where we begin. We are counting down 6 snacks, the things you reach for between meals when nobody is watching. Stay with me all the way to number 1, because it is sitting in nearly every kitchen in America already, and almost everyone prepares it in the one way that turns the best thing you could eat into one of the worst. And hold on to 4 ideas, because you will meet them again in every snack. First, sodium. Not the shaker on your table. The Centers for Disease Control and Prevention says more than 70% of the sodium Americans eat comes from packaged and restaurant food. Second, added phosphate. The National Kidney Foundation makes a distinction few people have heard. The phosphorus naturally present in whole food is only partly absorbed, roughly half of it, while the phosphate additives in processed food are absorbed almost completely. Healthy kidneys clear the surplus. Tired ones struggle. Third, your gut bacteria. Some of the waste your kidneys spend the day clearing was not made by your body at all. It was made by microbes in your colon, and what you feed them changes what they hand you. Fourth, displacement. Every one of these six works, partly by occupying the space something worse would have taken. You are not adding six chores. You are making six swaps. Number 6 coming up. Number 6, an apple eaten whole with the skin left on. The mechanism is more interesting than the apple's reputation suggests. Apples are unusually rich in pectin, a soluble fiber. Pectin passes through your small intestine untouched and arrives in your colon, where your bacteria ferment it into short-chain fatty acids that feed your colon wall and calm inflammatory signaling well beyond the gut. Now, the part that matters for your kidneys, and it is the least known idea in this whole video, that same fermentation machinery, fed protein residue instead of fiber, produces a different set of compounds, indoxyl sulfate and p-crysyl sulfate among them. Those are gut-derived wastes, and your kidneys are the organ that has to clear them. Feed your bacteria more plant fiber and less leftover protein, and you change what they hand your filters every single day. Let me be honest about the strength of that. It is an active area of research, not settled science, and nobody can promise you a number will move. But the fiber itself is not in doubt. Most adults over 50 are told to aim for 25 to 30 grams a day, and the average American takes in roughly half that. Why an apple out of all the fruit in the store? The National Kidney Foundation lists apples among its kidney-friendly foods. Almost no sodium, very little phosphorus, and modest potassium compared with the tropical fruits sitting beside it. A medium apple carries about 4 grams of fiber, and roughly half of that is in the peel. How to actually do it, whole, with the skin, and not as juice. Juicing throws away the pectin and leaves you the sugar, which is precisely backwards. Keep a bowl where you can see it, because a snack you have to go looking for is a snack you will not eat. And if a whole apple is hard on your teeth, slice it or grate it into plain yogurt. Sliced with a little cinnamon is the easiest replacement for a cookie there is. Number 5, the water-rich crunch, cucumber, celery, and radish with lemon. 2 mechanisms here, and the first is almost too simple to trust. These vegetables are about 95% water. When you snack on them, you are hydrating without noticing, and dilute urine is easier on the whole plumbing. It is the standard first piece of advice for anyone who has ever passed a kidney stone. The second mechanism is the lemon. Lemon juice is one of the richest common sources of citrate, and citrate binds calcium in the urine, so it is less available to crystallize. Urologists have suggested lemon water to stone formers for years. If you have never had a stone, treat it as a pleasant way to make water taste like something. If you have had one, it is worth a specific conversation with your doctor because the type of stone changes the advice. And now the most important flip in this entire video, so please hear it clearly. More water is not automatically better for kidneys. The National Kidney Foundation's guidance for most healthy people is 4 to 6 glasses a day, and drinking beyond what your body needs does not improve filtration. More than that, if you are on dialysis or managing heart failure, you are very likely on a fluid restriction, and pushing extra fluid is genuinely dangerous for you. That advice inverts completely. Ask your own team what your number is and follow theirs, not mine. What this snack really does is displacement. It occupies the exact place in your evening the chip bag occupies, and it satisfies what you were actually after, which was almost never salt. It was the crunch. How to do it? Cut a jar of sticks on Sunday and put it at eye level in the refrigerator, because the whole battle is decided in the first 4 seconds the door is open. Dress them with lemon, a little olive oil, black pepper, dill, and skip the bottled ranch, because that is where the sodium and the phosphate additives you just avoided come straight back in. Number 4, hard-boiled egg whites, unsalted. This one takes a little explaining because half the internet spent 30 years telling you eggs were the problem. Here is what the National Kidney Foundation actually says. Egg whites are a high-quality protein that is low in phosphorus. The yolk carries most of the phosphorus in an egg. The white carries the protein almost cleanly. That combination is uncommon and genuinely useful. But the reason it earns a place on a snack list is what it replaces. Think honestly about the protein snacks in your house. The jerky, the salami, the cheese stick, the little tub of flavored cottage cheese. A single ounce of beef jerky can carry close to a quarter of a day's sodium allowance, and processed meat is one of the most reliable places to find phosphate additives on a label. 2 boiled egg whites deliver the protein with essentially none of that. One more thread, and it ties back to where we started. The creatine in muscle meat is where a share of your circulating creatinine comes from. It is one reason the number on your lab report is not a clean readout of your kidneys alone. A daily habit of meat snacks is adding creatine, sodium, and phosphate at the same time, 3 loads at once. Now the caveat, because it is a real one. Protein advice inverts depending on where you are. If you are on dialysis, your protein needs go up, not down, and your team will tell you so. If you have advanced kidney disease and are not on dialysis, your doctor may ask you to moderate protein carefully. Do not decide either of those things from a video. How to do it. Boil half a dozen on Sunday and leave them in the refrigerator. 2 whites, cracked pepper, smoked paprika, a thread of olive oil. It takes 90 seconds and it will hold you until dinner. We are halfway down the list. If what you have heard so far has been useful, if it has been specific, honest about what the evidence does and does not show, and free of anything you have to buy, then the single most helpful thing you can do right now is tap the like button and subscribe. That is all. Every week I sit down with the research and translate it into plain language for people over 60, and the like button is what puts this in front of the next person who needs to hear it. Thank you for that. Number three, red and black grapes, and I want you to keep them in the freezer. To understand why grapes are here, you have to understand what a kidney filter actually is. That nephron I mentioned at the start does not begin with a membrane or a sieve. It begins with a glomerulus, a tight knot of the smallest blood vessels in your body, which means kidney disease is, in large part, a blood vessel disease. That is not a metaphor. It is exactly why the 2 leading causes of kidney failure are high blood pressure and diabetes. One pushes too hard through those tiny vessels. The other stiffens and damages their walls. Grapes carry a family of polyphenols, resveratrol among them, concentrated in the skins of the red and black varieties. Those compounds are studied for their effect on the lining of blood vessels and on oxidative stress. No one has shown a bowl of grapes changes an eGFR, and I am not going to pretend otherwise. What is solid is that red grapes appear on the National Kidney Foundation's own kidney-friendly list. Low sodium, low phosphorus, moderate potassium, which makes them a rare thing, a sweet snack that does not tax the system. Now, why frozen? 3 practical reasons. Frozen grapes have to be eaten one at a time, which slows you down. They come out of the freezer already portioned by the handful instead of by the bag, and they behave like candy, so they can actually take the place of the cookie at 9 at night rather than sitting beside it. The honest limits. Fruit sugar is still sugar. If you are managing diabetes, a cup at a time and count it. And if your doctor has put you on a potassium limit, grapes are moderate rather than low. That is a portion conversation with your dietitian, not a reason to fear the fruit. Number 2, pineapple. And this one is here for arithmetic more than for chemistry. Here is the situation almost every person over 60 knows. Someone in a white coat says the words, "Watch your potassium," and you go home with no idea what that means at the fruit bowl. So let me make it concrete. A medium banana carries around 400 milligrams of potassium. A cup of pineapple chunks is down in the low hundreds. Same sweetness, same convenience, a fraction of the load. Oranges and orange juice sit up with the banana. Melon and kiwi are high as well. That is why the National Kidney Foundation specifically names pineapple as the kidney-friendlier alternative among tropical fruit. It is not that pineapple has a special power, it is that one swap, made every day for a year, quietly changes the arithmetic your kidneys are working with. Pineapple also brings vitamin C, fiber, and bromelain, the enzyme that makes your tongue tingle and is used commercially to tenderize meat. I am not going to hang a health claim on bromelain. The potassium math is the point. And once more, the flip, because this channel does not do one size fits all. If your potassium runs low rather than high, or if you take a potassium binder, or if you are on a medicine that holds potassium in, this arithmetic reverses and your team decides your fruit, not the internet. How to do it? Fresh cut into chunks, or frozen or canned in juice, and drained well? Never in heavy syrup. A cup with a few grapes and a spoonful of plain yogurt is a genuinely good dessert, and it is the last thing your kidneys will complain about tonight. And number one, the snack sitting in nearly every kitchen in this country already, prepared in the one way that ruins it. Plain popcorn, air-popped, with no salt. I know exactly how that lands. Stay with me, because there is a reason it takes the top spot rather than some expensive berry. Sodium is the single biggest dietary lever you have over your kidneys. The dietary guidelines put the limit under 2,300 milligrams a day, and the average American adult is up near 3,400. Sodium raises blood pressure. Blood pressure is transmitted straight into those little knots of capillaries, and over years that pressure scars them. This is not an exotic mechanism. Alongside diabetes, it is the most common road to dialysis in the developed world. Now look at what happens to a corn kernel. Air popped in plain, 3 cups of popcorn is a whole grain, with roughly 3 to 4 grams of fiber and essentially no sodium at all, one of the largest, longest-lasting snacks you can buy for almost nothing. Put that same corn in a microwave bag or a movie theater tub, and it becomes one of the saltiest things in the building, frequently with phosphate additives and flavor coatings along for the ride. Same food, opposite outcome. That is the whole lesson of this list in one bowl. It is almost never the ingredient that is the problem. It is what was done to it before it reached you. Here is your label rule, and it is worth writing down. Turn the package over and read the ingredient list for the letters PHOS. Phosphate additives hide inside long words. Sodium phosphate, phosphoric acid, pyrophosphate. Remember idea number 2. Those added phosphates are absorbed nearly completely. Whole food has no ingredient list at all, which is the simplest reason to lean on it. How to do it? An air popper is the cheapest useful appliance in a kitchen, and a heavy pot with a spoonful of olive oil does the same job. Season while it is hot so the spices stick. Smoked paprika, cinnamon, black pepper, garlic powder, not garlic salt. That one word is the entire difference. So there they are, all 6. An apple with the skin at number 6. The water-rich crunch with lemon at 5, egg whites at 4, frozen grapes at 3, pineapple at 2, and plain air-popped popcorn at number 1. Now step back and look at the shape of it, because these were never meant to be 6 separate errands. Look at how often the same lever appears. Sodium came for the popcorn, again for the jerky the egg whites replaced, again for the bottled dressing on the cucumber. 3 of the 6 are, underneath, the same decision made in 3 corners of your week. Look at the phosphate thread. Whole apple, whole grape, whole pineapple, plain popcorn, a boiled egg. Not one of them arrives with an ingredient list. You avoided added phosphate not by memorizing chemistry, but by eating things never processed enough to need it. Look at the gut. The pectin in the apple, the fiber in the popcorn hull, the fiber in the pineapple, All of it lands in the same colon, feeding the same bacteria, shifting them away from the waste compounds your filters would otherwise spend the day clearing. Look at the blood vessels. The polyphenols in the grape skins, the sodium you did not eat, the blood sugar that stayed steady because you had fruit and fiber instead of a sleeve of cookies. Every one of those arrives at the same glomerulus from a different direction. And look at displacement, which may be the most powerful mechanism of all. Every one of these six works partly by being there instead of something else, instead of the chips, instead of the salami, instead of the cookie, instead of the soda. You are not adding 6 good things to a day that is already full. You are making 6 swaps in the 2 hours when nobody is watching, mid-afternoon and late evening. That is the entire assignment. And notice the honesty running underneath all of it. Twice tonight I told you the research is unsettled. And once I told you the advice reverses completely for some of you. That is what a real eating pattern looks like. Not one hero food, but a steady, unglamorous pattern that takes a little weight off a system doing extraordinary work. Food is one lever. Let me give you the rest, because leaving them out would do you a disservice. Blood pressure and blood sugar are the 2 biggest levers you have, bigger than any snack on this list, which is why controlling them is the first thing any kidney specialist will talk to you about. Movement helps both. The National Institute on Aging recommends older adults aim for at least 150 minutes of moderate activity a week, which is a brisk half-hour walk, 5 days. Smoking damages the small vessels everywhere in the body, including inside those filters. And here is one that catches people out. The National Institute of Diabetes and Digestive and Kidney Diseases warns that regular use of over-the-counter anti-inflammatory painkillers, ibuprofen and naproxen, can harm the kidneys, particularly if you take them often, at higher doses, or for a long stretch. A great many people over 60 are taking one of those most days for a bad knee and have never once been told that. Ask your doctor what is right for you. That single question is worth more than everything in your refrigerator. Then there are the 2 simple tests, and I want you to remember these 2 by name. The first is a blood test that measures creatinine and gives your eGFR, how well you are filtering. Most people over 60 have had that one, often without knowing it. The second is a urine test for albumin, sometimes called a urine albumin to creatinine ratio, which looks for protein leaking through a filter that has started to let things past. It is often the earlier signal of the 2, and it is the one most commonly skipped. If you take one thing from tonight into your next appointment, let it be this sentence. Can we check my eGFR and a urine albumin test? Ask for both. Then ask what the numbers were and write them down. Because a single reading tells you far less than the trend across 3 years, and there are things that should not wait for the next appointment. Swelling in your ankles or around your eyes, urine that is foamy or has blood in it, passing much less than usual, or a sudden change in how much you are urinating. Those are for a doctor now, not a grocery list. One last thing, and it is the one I most want you to hear. This advice flips for some of you. If you have been given a potassium limit, the grapes and the pineapple become a portion conversation. If you are on a fluid restriction, the water advice does not apply to you at all. If you are on dialysis, your protein target goes up rather than down, and your dietitian's plan overrides every word of this. And if you are managing diabetes, the fruit still counts as carbohydrate. Your team's instructions win, always. I want to leave you with this. Look at what we actually named tonight. An apple, a cucumber, an egg, a bag of grapes, a pineapple, a jar of popcorn kernels. There is nothing on that list that requires money or a specialty store or being young or being particularly disciplined. It is the ordinary produce aisle and the bottom shelf of the grocery store, and it is available in every town in the country. And nothing here asks you to be perfect. It asks you to change what you reach for twice a day. Your body responds to that at 78 the same way it does at 58, only I think more gratefully. If there is someone in your life who has been told their numbers were a little off and never quite got an explanation, your husband, your wife, your brother, the friend you have coffee with on Saturdays, send them this. Most people never bring it up themselves. That one share costs you nothing, and it may be the reason someone asks for a urine test they would not otherwise have had. And one more thing, since the title of this video says your doctor never told you, I do not think your doctor is hiding anything from you. I think your doctor has 15 minutes, a waiting room, and a list of things that will kill you faster, and the snack conversation is simply the first thing to fall off the end of it. That is not a conspiracy. It is arithmetic, which is exactly why videos like this one exist. And once more, because it matters more than anything else I have said tonight, if you have diagnosed kidney disease, if you are on dialysis or have had a transplant, if you are on a fluid restriction, if you take a diuretic, a potassium binder, or a blood pressure medicine that changes your potassium, or if you are managing diabetes or heart failure, take this list to your own doctor or your kidney dietitian before you change one thing about how you eat. This is general education about a healthy eating pattern. It is not treatment, it is not prevention, and it is no substitute for the person who has your history in front of them. That code is on your screen now. Scan it with your phone, and my book, The 90-Year Blueprint, my guide to eating for healthy aging, is yours. Nothing to pay, nothing to sign up for, my gift for spending this time with me. If tonight was useful, subscribe, because there is a new one every week built the same way, from the research outward. And tell me in the comments which of the 6 you are starting with. The apple, the frozen grapes, the popcorn. I read them, and I answer as many as I can. Take good care of yourself, and I will see you next time.